Hey guys, today I'm over at my friend's house and I'm going to be giving you guys a garden tour of her dad's home garden. The vegetable that he grows here is, a lot of them are very specific to what he's had growing up in his village, and he's from a village that's part of Guangzhou, or also known as Guangzhou, part of China. So I'll be giving you guys a garden tour here. There will be some clips of him in there as well, so be sure to turn on that subtitle so you can find out what we're talking about. Today is well over 90 degrees here, so you can see by the sun it's actually getting the vegetables growing really fast here. This is a leafy green that he grew up eating. It's called a fu mak choy, which is a type of leafy green that has a bit more of a bitter taste to it, but we like our bitters, in the food. Like, we eat all kinds of flavors that actually, I think in English there's not enough words to describe flavors that a lot of Asian cuisine has. And bitter, surprisingly, or to some of you guys, might be unfamiliar or not used to that flavor, but actually when there's a hint of bitterness, it does enhance the flavor and the depth of food. So this vegetable has that bitterness to it. And then he's also growing the other vegetable, which is a more like a hybrid of this kind that is much mild in the bitter taste. What I really like about this one is that when I first looked at it, this reminds me of a Chinese stem lettuce. Of course, this is not Chinese stem lettuce, but it grows vertically like that. It grows vertically like a dinosaur kale as well. So I really like that these vegetables are upright, which is really great for small space gardening. And they're actually a summer vegetable. So if you try to grow these in the winter time, they're not going to really, they're not going to take off. Just like these really just love the heat. They're right here baking in the full sun, and you can see they're growing really nicely, and they kind of have that, I don't know if the heat might enhance the bitterness also. But yeah, there are some vegetables that grow really well in the sun, so be sure you pick the right type of vegetables for the right seasons to grow. That way you're not actually fighting against nature, fighting against the climate. And if you just bring everything, together, growing the right things in the right time, you're gonna have a lot less pest issues and just struggling with the growth and the vitality of the plants. Let's try it. I'm gonna try this vegetable. Yep, it's pretty astringent, like bitter astringent. And a lot of the times these bitterness kind of goes away a bit because they usually first off start by blanching in like a salt water. They'll blanch it for like a couple of minutes. It depends on how long you want to leave it in the water to soften it up, and that would kind of break down that fiber too, and then the bitterness would kind of leach out into the water. So usually that's how a lot of Chinese cooking start by, is to blanch their leafy greens or even some beans or any kind of vegetables, and then they do a stir fry with it. So yeah, this is definitely, I think it's pretty tender, but it does have that kind of a bitter kick to it. If you ask me, I don't mind it at all. So let me show you guys what the hybrid of this particular leafy green looks like. 苦我中意食苦嘅嘢。This is the hybrid of the other vegetable that I just talked about. This one has a more mild taste, so let's just try this. It's definitely got thinner leaves, so it's more tender. It's definitely a lot more tender. It's still got that bitter taste to it, but it doesn't have that astringent taste like the other leafy green. But I can see this, they would blanch it for a really short time. The leaves of this kind is just pretty thin that I think I can just throw maybe a few leaves, not a whole bunch, but just maybe a few leaves to add depth to like a lettuce romaine salad or something, with a bit of like the acidity in the dressing. I think would be really nice. Otherwise, they would throw it in soup or in like a noodle soup or something with just, you know, these raw veggies in there, and so it's just kind of become like this half-cooked kind of leafy greens in the soup. And of course, you can do stir fries with it. But yeah, this is definitely less astringent and a little less bitter than the other kind. So more mild, more green, and actually has a little hint of a different flavor than the other kind. Yeah, I think I personally prefer this one. Oh, and the thing that's really cool is actually the original one that I just showed you, the previous one I just showed you, they actually dry the stem. One of her cousins actually had, is it a stomach lining or something? There's like bleeding on the intestines, and the doctor was ordering, you know, that he was going to have surgery to repair, and he actually was just drying those stems, like the stalk of this vegetable, and drank it as a tea, made it as a tea to drink, and he was healed. I truly believe that plants are very healing, and whatever problems we find or health issues, it's really like all in the plants, you know. But again, this is just my take on life and way of life. So I highly encourage you guys to do your own research and find out what other alternatives there are for you if you're interested going in that route. But I really appreciate, you know, things that nature has given to us. Like, all of it is here. We just have to take the time to search for the answers, and it's just definitely a less invasive. Personally, I think it's less invasive and a more mild approach, and definitely I would try to take that route first before doing something more invasive. But that's just my personal opinion. Nevertheless, let's move on to the next. I want to show you guys these beans that I've been growing this summer. The seeds were given to me by her dad, Bonnie's dad. So let's show you guys these beans. So right over here are the green beans that he's been growing, this heirloom variety that was passed on to him. And he's grown this variety for many years now, and it is called dragon tooth bean. Long Ya Dao is what it's called. So this one looks like nothing special, just like your regular green beans, but actually is stringless. It is a pole variety, as you can see. And actually, I find pole varieties to work better in my garden because it's a tiny garden, and growing vertically actually works out better as like for a issue with space for me. And I really love these. They're not just like a green bean, regular green bean kind of flavor, but it has like a very like a hint of a floral note at the end. And then when I drank the tea, when I try to like the water that I blanched it in, I mean, I don't put any salt in the water that I blanched the green beans in. So I try to drink it, and it actually tastes like a really nice green tea. So that was really awesome that I thought the finishing touch of like the taste of this bean actually has like a tea kind of a flavor, and it's pretty sweet, and it's definitely a lot more tender than the regular green beans. Actually, I grew a few, started out in late winter thinking that it was going to warm up, so I started a few beans, which was kind of like the same mistake that he was telling me that he made too, which I'll show you a clip of that in just a bit. But basically, when you grow things at the wrong time, the plants won't really take, and that was my problem too. I think I put down a few seeds, and they all seemed like they sprouted. Eventually they rotted out, also due to the weather being a little more cool. So I mean, it was still like getting close to late winters when I started them, thinking I would get an earlier start to get some vegetables growing for the warm season. But actually, you know, starting a little too early, a lot of them didn't grow. So I ended up having just one crop, and it was so slow growing. Eventually it took off as the angle of the sun, now that it's like a lot higher up, it was getting you know, giving more light or more sun to the crop, and it finally is growing really nicely now. And I tasted it. It was so delicious that I had to ask them for a few more seeds. So I just put down a few more. I can't wait. I hope that I can get more growing this season before it gets cold. But yeah, this is, you know, some beans are growing in the winter, such as like snap peas and sugar snaps, and some peas and beans, but this is actually, like, green beans is a summer vegetable that you can grow. We're right now in getting close to early August, and they're growing such abundance of beans.啲綁咗係留種係咪啊？
係。
啲有冇咩特別原因去揀呢？好似呢幾條去留種？
我揀嘅咧就咁樣，不過依家種下咧就少咗啦。以前咧一串花咧就有成最多嘅有成6條嘅。
哇！
啊！依家嚟4條嘅都少啦咧，有啲3、4條啦。咁加上咧就留嗰啲唔使講都係留啲比較壯啲，
好似啲好似呢一支咁。
長啲係啊！嗱，呢個就本一條咧，因為佢比較壯比較乜嘢，所以都留佢就咁啊。
咁呢個你覺得係一個天氣嘅影響定係咩比較少啲咧？一支比較少喎，以前。
依家我都唔知佢係咩原因。
好肥啊，好壯啊！
係啊，
揀啲最壯嗰啲去繼續配種。
係啊。
哇！真係好好食啊！我覺得好似好好食啊！即係佢，你睇佢好似老，其實佢係唔硬㗎，真係好特別。
係啊，
即係睇唔出咯，覺得佢好似佢普通嘅青豆咁。
食咗唔同啊！
係啊，真係唔食，我好似有香花香嘅味添啦，個口感。
係啊，阿 Bonnie 咧，
好中意。
其他嘅都唔食。
佢唔食係啊，佢講。
冇辦法啦，依家種都仲可以。
係啊，希望都夠食。同埋佢打橫啲菌繼續生，所以都會有多啲啊。
係啊。等陣帶啲翻嚟啊！
哇，多謝，因為我家下得個5條就係長。So right next to these green beans, it's got this row here. This is a type of gourd. It's called the angle. I think it's called angle or angular gourd. I'll put the correct name down below here in this video. But yeah, let's come on close and show you guys what those gourds look like. This is the angular gourd. Mostly they use these as for stir frying. You can see this one just took such a cute little baby gourd right here. They're pretty tasty. You usually would find these at the Asian grocery stores. I love how he put together these trellises using the bamboos that they grow here, using their own resource to plant, you know, all their crops. So he actually put the trellises together he'll take it down in the winter and then he'll put them back up for the summer vegetables. So you can see they're basically just very easily done just by crisscrossing them in a row, and then he even held it together with secured it with the strings. He's also got a post on each end to give it extra support. Yeah, this is pretty sturdy. Alright, I want to show you guys this way. This is the bitter gourd. I see some flowers, so some fruits are going to be coming pretty soon. Usually the plants would start out with some male flowers and then the female ones would come in and will start to fruit. So mine actually has got a few fruits on there right now, but it took a little while to just keep pumping up a bunch of male flowers, and then eventually, oh, there comes the female. Right down here is his pumpkin patch. This is actually a hybrid that he's got crossed with 2 different crops right here in his very home garden. And that's the thing about organic gardening, you know, you're inviting these pollinators to help you pollinate your plants, and then some would actually get crossed, like, you know, crossed that way. And this one is actually crossed between a Chinese pumpkin and a butternut squash. So Chinese pumpkin starts off kind of white, and then it would ripen orange. It's about like, it gets like pretty big size, and then it crossed with the butternut squash. And so what you see here is that it's got this like really more unique look to it, and a taste like a butternut squash is what I was told. There's a couple of interesting things he noticed about these squashes is that whenever the flowers come, he said don't even move anything around that area. Don't try to like lift, you know, pick up the vine, don't move the leaves. Things like that would actually make the flowers droop and fall off. So he does not come out and do hand pollinating. I mean, naturally when things are grown and they're growing in abundance, you know, in a decent amount of space, when you have enough flowers and you invite the pollinators in, you actually don't have to hand pollinate stuff. I mean, imagine how much work that would be if you were actually having, like, if you're running a farm that way. But for me, because I'm in a home garden, I have a small garden, everything that like I want to grow so much of like all these different varieties, I only have like so much, like the little space for each variety that I grow. And so I want to guarantee that I have, you know, what I'm growing. And so a lot of the times I actually go out there, if I get a chance, I would make sure that I would hand pollinate them. So if you stepped on the tips of these vines, the gourds or the pumpkins would actually taste bitter. To me, it makes sense, you know, because thinking about how if you injure something, it's going to be stressed, like the plants might stress, and then maybe it'll release some sort of hormone that would alter the taste of the vegetable or the fruit. So I'm kind of thinking of something along that line. So in my mind, I mean, that makes sense to me.
落冬瓜種，落過冬瓜種㗎啦。落過一輪冬瓜種同南瓜種，你睇南瓜種就出成就係呢棵啦，就係出得一棵。
哦，
哇！
哇！一棵都好夠，夠成村人食啊！
係啊，如果呢個乜嘢嘅咧，佢就我依家點埋佢咧，大細嘅瓜有成10幾個嘅。
係啊，有啊有啊。
係啊，嗱呢度2個、3個，呢度4個，呢度咧2個啦，呢度一紮啦。係啊。佢又係咁㗎，係啊，好奇怪㗎。
嗯，同埋你頭先話呢種係溝咗品種係咪？係嗰個南瓜，即係橙色南瓜幫嗰個。
呢種咧就應該係我哋，佢又唔係嗰種日本南瓜，係我哋以前中國嘅嗰種南瓜小心嘅，唔使，
冇錯。
我哋中國嗰種咁大嗰種南瓜，同埋咧就個我叫佢做鬼佬南瓜，呢種即係呢葫蘆瓜咁呢種。
哦。
佢呢種係唔知點解變咗色啫，但係你哋可以見過嗰兩個咧，就嗰種即係嗰種瓜，同埋我哋中國南瓜。
好大。
可能係因為啲蜜蜂啊。
係啊。
因為好多蜜蜂㗎我呢度啊。
係啦，呢個有機花園。咁
呢個乜嘢咧？咁同個種，我就係懷疑佢就係嗰兩種雜交而成嘅。
係啊。
所以咧，我哋中國嘅南瓜咧又係，阿般尼唔食㗎。呢種佢食啊。
佢係咪中意甜啲啊？或者？
我唔知佢點解，佢呢種係食啊。種嘅各種佢係食啊，各種好似葫蘆形嗰種佢係食啊，真係好奇怪啊！豆又係食呢種嘅。
係啊，就咁中國南瓜係咪橙色㗎，或者另外個色？
老咗之後咧就係橙色。
哦。
呢個咩嗰陣咧青色。
哦 ，OK。
嫩嗰陣係青色。
He's got this like wild style kind of gardening. I think it's pretty cool, and it's definitely, I think it's less work if you have enough space to let things kind of go a little crazy on their own. Obviously, you would trim up and, you know, free up the walkway, and wherever you want them to be, you kind of guide them a little bit. But that's the thing about having enough space for them that they can kind of grow freely, so you don't have to constantly try to, I guess, control where it goes. Whereas my garden is small, so every inch counts for me. So I really try to, I don't want to use the word restrict, but I do try to really maintain them at a certain place, because if they go a little over, then they're taking up a little more light, you know, than the plant next to them would get. So right behind there, there's a guava tree, and I'm not going to talk too much about that. You guys can check out my previous episodes about guavas if you're interested. I'll link it down below or in the iCard up, or in the card up there. But yeah, they grow these guavas that he says it's actually sweeter, and he actually there's another guava tree that I'll show you guys. The fruits is got more like a pear shape, and he said it's sweeter, and I have tasted the green guavas that are in a more oval or pear shape that, to me, in my experience, they do seem to be a lot more flavorful than the regular round green guavas. And then right behind this pumpkin patch is actually these peppermint. Oh my gosh, she's got so much of these mints growing that, thank you, Bonnie. You're always giving me this herb. It is so minty. I actually dry them because they're super fresh tea that I dry with them. The tea is so cool because when I drink it hot, it keeps my tummy, like it goes down warm, but it leaves my mouth kind of cool. It's just so minty. It's pretty fun experience. If you guys never tried, dry your own peppermint tea. It is so good. Different and a lot more fresh and tasty than anything you can ever get at the store. These are the bamboos that he used as a fence bordering between he and their neighbors. So that's pretty cool. So that's the bamboos that he actually used to make those trellises.
Lúc有同呢個乜嘢都係咁樣嚟啦，佢一有咧就成堆嘅。
係啊，同埋啲花好香啊！開啲花。係
啊，啲花好
好濃好香。
哦。
呢棵係從種子或者係節枝種出嚟？
種子。
哦，種子。哇，幾耐先有啊咁？
種子啊。
係啊。
種子遲嘅10年8年，早嘅就6、7年。
哇，早嘅6、7年，10年8年前。
即係起碼要6年以上。
哦。哇，咁呢棵有幾耐開始結果啊？
呢棵啊？但係佢都係6、7年到咧。7年到。
哇！
你睇下佢成堆㗎。
係啊。好多啊真係。幾好，即係碌柚都幾襟擺咯，我覺得幾好。
哦，係啊。
So this is the sugar cane that they grow. They actually don't use it to press the juice, but they put it in a pot of water and boil it to make like a Chinese cooling summer kind of an herbal tea with it. It does help to sweeten up the water that way. I mean, it's basically natural cane sugar, right? Unprocessed sugar cane or cane sugar. Anyway, so these can actually reach way high up to like 15, even 20 feet tall. But they keep harvesting these so they won't get that much taller than this. This is the golden cane variety, and this actually is a very sweet variety. The skin around the outside is actually tougher than the red ones, but I find this one, if you let it mature, it tastes a lot sweeter than the red ones in my experience. Did you know that there's actually less sugar in sugarcane juice than orange juice? Also, you get a lot of minerals when you're drinking sugarcane juice. I mean, cane is a grass. It's a type of grass, so it grows really fast. It's very eco-friendly. They actually use the fibers of this to make paper and even toilet paper. So this is definitely a more eco-friendly option. They grow, like I said, really fast, just like bamboos. And they're super, super tasty. Especially think about this weather. Just talking about it makes me want to go get a fresh pressed sugarcane juice right after this video. I mean, it is so baking hot out here. I'm sweating like crazy. What better than a nice, refreshing, cold, sweet drink, right? That's actually unprocessed.
我一般我種嘢好似一行菜咁樣，我就先落呢個，然後咧就再落埋呢個所謂馬屎。
係啊。
係呢個泥同馬屎。
牛屎。
咁撈勻佢之後，咁啊做所謂底肥啦。
啊係。
係。
咁你就咁擺喺上嗰個面層係咪？
係啊，面層你咪乜嘢咯？你即係用嘢你呢個乜嘢佢咯，撈勻佢咯。
係啊。
撈勻佢咯。哦。一般都係咁樣啊。係啊。咁然後咧就以前咧，依家我冇出去買啦。以前咧就間中淋下肥咧，用水質嘅咧就係用嗰啲嗰所謂魚仔水啊。
魚仔水，好肥啊！
我哋叫佢做魚仔水。
啊，都係啊！佢啲魚唔知點樣嘔出嚟㗎嘛，係咪？
係。
好肥啊，係嗰啲。係啊。Fish emotion。
個乜嘢都係啊，個 fish。
咁每一次種會唔會即係好似換位啊？下一季呢個地方種係啊。
咁啊好啲。再加上咧。仲有個問題咧，就係你唔夠地方就難講啦。即係有地方咧，就即係好所謂輪流嚟。唔好成冇呢個乜嘢咧，都係種埋個種咧，咁就唔得啦。係啊。所以我依家嗰啲空咗嗰啲咧，咪等佢咁空咗咧，再種翻咧。咁佢就會生得好啊。係啊。加上咧咁樣個蟲
少蟲啲啊。
少蟲啲。因為你個地充分曬到佢，咁佢哋蟲又好啲，個地又肥啲。係啊，因為今年初嗰陣冷同埋雨水太多啊，個雨水太多同埋冷咧，所以一開頭嗰陣，佢一到2月幾嗰陣，咪試過。有好多日咧好熱噶嘛，係啊。咁今年咧我就所謂上咗當啦。我咧咁熱，咁我咪早啲落種咯。我種過一趟噶啦，呢啲豆啊。係啊。喺2月份種嗰啲，後尾先至佢2月份過咗之後，2月尾3月初嗰陣又冷又落雨。係啊。爛晒嗰陣時，我記得我都有好早咁講。係嗰啲出得唔好兼夾咧，又有蟲又呢個乜嘢。即係唔啱氣候嘅時候種嘢係好難。係啊，係好難搞。4月之後，即係所謂清明之後。一般4月5號清明啊嘛。係啊。咁就清明之後咧就好穩陣。可以種瓜啦，係可以呢啲乜嘢瓜呢？係啊，冬瓜、白瓜、青瓜、苦瓜乜嘢瓜，同埋呢啲豆喺嗰個時候落種就最好。即係開始熱嘅天氣，真正嘅暖。係嗰陣好，加上咧佢嗰陣生長得比較快啊。係啊。係佢嗰個時候佢特別乜嘢㗎？個4月同5月。4、5、6呢幾個月咧，啲植物生長特別快。係啊，好快啊！即係真係嘥氣咯！你太早落去，反而到熱天佢未必追得上。就係咁樣，所以我個嗱，你依家掘咗嚟曬個行咧，就係咁樣，就係原來種豆㗎啦。係啊。唔得靚啊！嗰啲豆出到嚟，呢個乜嘢？所以唔好心急啊！嗬。冇心急。係啊。冇心急，睇都係要呢個乜嘢？不過咧，個人實在太熱啦！我個人熱到要開冷氣。唔落種子住，你淨係要個地俾佢就咁白曬啊？係啊，呢條好似嗰啲咁，佢依家空咗嗰啲。空咗嗰啲。係啊。係咩作用咧？佢曬咗一排先至落。係咧，佢可能咧，我都唔知佢，而且咧就咁樣咧都唔使落咁多肥添。你嗰啲地咧唔乜嘢咧，一個蟲多，一個咧就啲嘢生得冇咁好。咁即係唔使施肥先嘅，只不過你係即係準，我都要嘅。你如果你要種乜嘢咧，我咪頭先講咯。頭先俾我睇。馬屎用泥撈埋作為所謂底肥。咁你種嘢落去咧之後咧，咁 先至好呢咁嘅嘢。
即係好似嗰一笪咁樣，即係施完肥啊，咁撈下去之後，你要等佢曬一排，咁先至種嘢落去。
唔係，自日依家就係咁等佢曬到呢咁嘅嘢，你要種嗰陣咧，就撈咗肥之後咧就可以種啦。
哦。
係，關鍵就等佢曬。
嗯。
曬加上
挖起佢俾佢曬。
冇咁多蟲。
嗯。
如果唔係咧，你濕啲又蟲多，啲植物生長又冇咁好。
This patch of sweet potato leaves, they actually grow it for the leaves. So the consumption of leaves, this variety actually don't bear any sweet potato tubers. And he said that this particular variety actually has a more tender and a smooth, kind of a silky smooth texture when cooked compared to other sweet potato leaves. So all sweet potato leaves are edible. It's just that the taste and the texture would slightly vary. And he's cut a few of these ones for me to take home to try. Có冇先養水先至插或者直接插？
我直接插嘅。
He says this is a Vietnamese amaranth, but basically this is the green amaranth. That's how I would call it. The difference between this one and the Chinese one is that this takes a little longer to blanch, to soften. These pretty much, it's one of those crops that you grow once and you'll have them coming back every single year. So he does not intentionally plant amaranth here. These all came out freely. So that's what I really love about, sometimes things that grow wild is that they just come back and it's just, there's zero effort for you and you just get to harvest and enjoy the gift from the plants. This is the Chinese variety of amaranth. So you can see that the leaves are more round and it's got these nice brown red kind of pigment all over it. Wow, nice rich like purpley red color in the back here. So this one takes a lot less time to blanch, to get really tender, to cook. And these are the two varieties that he grows year after year. This is a vegetable called goji in Chinese. It's actually related to the Goji family. It's really interesting to me because the Goji leaves look really similar to this. It kind of tastes pretty similar to me. I almost can't tell them apart, but the difference that I know that, how I can tell the difference is that this one is actually grown just for the leaves to eat. And so that means it does not fruit. But the other one flowers and then fruits, and that's how you get the goji berries. But they definitely are from the same family. And these are just so easy to grow too. Same thing, you just pick off the stem and stick it in like moist soil, and they'll take, just rooting just that way. So each time when you pluck them to eat the leaves, you can just stick those these naked stems just all along wherever you want, and they'll start growing. Pretty cool, and actually they're pretty tasty. They usually put this in a soup, as just a very simple soup. This is their jujube tree. It is loaded with fruits. I cannot wait for them to share these. So jujube is one of those really hardy plants I've talked about in previous episode. If you guys are interested in learning about how to grow them or more about this fruit, I'll leave the links below for you to go check out. And basically, he's got this netting here to prevent the birds and the squirrels from getting to their fruits. This is definitely one of my favorite fruits to eat. I cannot stop eating these if they are crispy sweet. And it looks like he's got a few that's actually ripening up there. I wonder if I can get to them. Well, I probably should ask the man before I pick his fruits. But yeah, I am going to make note to him that the few of them on the top up there are ripe. The best jujubes, if you want to eat them as a fruit, is when they build that like red brown specks on it, and then the fruits are still firm, so they're really crispy and sweet and juicy that way. Oh man, I am drooling. All right, got the last stop I want to show you guys. This is, I'll just show you guys and you'll get why we're gonna wrap it up with this amazing crop. Well, as you guys know, part of being a gardener is to grow things to be self-sustaining. This is a winter melon that they're growing, is basically a gourd. So gourds and pumpkins can last for a really long time. So you grow these out in the summer and you can keep them throughout winter, almost for even like a year long if you keep it in like a dry, cool area. So they just keep these like in the garage or something and let them store for months through winter. If you want to have like fresh produce in the winter, well, not exactly fresh, but it's definitely raw, not like dried or canned food. You know, you can take out your gourds and cook them in the winter. So that's what they do with these ones here. They grow them out, and he said that, I mean, the chances of them fruiting is like, say there's about 30 buds that would come out, there'd only be about like 12 or 15 of them that would set fruit. So don't feel bad, you guys, you know, about sometimes your flowers don't take, because not all of them do. And it sounds like for him only about 40 to 50% of the flowers would end up fruiting. And the largest one they had grown out was to be like 50 pounds a couple years ago. So the largest one they got growing this year is actually the one right behind me. This is the biggest one they have so far. I cannot wait to come back in a few months to see how big this one's gonna get. One of them got so heavy so far, I think it's about 15 pounds or so, it fell off by itself. Oh goodness. Trying to be so careful so I don't break anything here. You guys see that? Oh, look at that one over there. My arms are so itchy from all the spikes from the stems, the leaves, and these gourds around me, or melons. Wow, there's about maybe 15 of them here right now, and they're going to continue to grow for another couple of months. This one of the things you can make is like a donggua zhong, which is basically using this as a bowl, and you know, you carve out the inside and put some ingredients in there, put some water or soup in there, put some of this meat back in there as well, and cook the whole thing, and it will just be this really delicious soup inside of this winter melon. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this garden tour. Thank you, Bonnie and your dad, for opening your garden to me to allow me to share this video to my viewers. And if you like this video, please like it and share it. Subscribe to this channel if you have not. And go over to Instagram and Facebook and follow me there, where I do instant updates of my life that you don't get to see on this channel. If you would like to support my work, I really would appreciate that. Please go check out wendyland.com. I'll leave the links of everything that I just mentioned just below this video. In the meantime, you guys, stay hydrated, stay safe, and keep on gardening. I'll see you right back here in the next video.